Hey, there we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our social media feeds, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Anyway, my name, of course, is Seth. Thank you guys for being here. I thought we were going to go early or go live a lot earlier. We are going to do a emergency podcast tonight after the news about head coach Troy Lesane and New Mexico United parting ways. And we will talk about that throughout the night. If you want to hop in, join us. We've got the link out. I'll put it in the chats. I've got it out on Twitter. So if you guys want to join us, hit the link, pop on in. You don't need a camera, you just need a microphone. Hop on in, and we'll talk everything, everything and anything under the sun. We'll talk some New Mexico United. We'll talk some USL Championship Playoffs. Quarterfinals started tonight, and results are in. Earl, there you are, man. What's going on, brother? And yeah, wonderful night. Oakland. There we go. Aaron, thank you for joining. How you doing tonight? Man, the results are in. USL Championship Night One. San Antonio FC beats San Diego Loyal 2-0. And then, of course, and probably unless something happens to either the Phoenix match or I'd say, Lou City, this is probably the upset of the playoffs right here so far. Oakland Roots takes the win over El Paso, ending their 25-match unbeaten streak down at Southwest University Park. Yeah, I know, Earl. Your predictions were not even close for this. So if you missed the show on Wednesday night, Earl and I did some predictions along with Jerry Murillo, who is an El Paso supporter. Earl, of course, had San Diego beating San Antonio tonight. I thought Earl was going nuts. And then I don't think none of us had Oakland beating El Paso, but we did. I had Colorado beating El Paso in the second round, but and Jerry thought we were insane for predicting that El Paso was going to lose. So, Aaron, who'd you have? Who'd you have on your predictions, man? I have not checked on Jerry. I haven't heard from Jerry. I imagine Jerry might have been at the game. I could be wrong at that. Could be wrong, but maybe he'll pop in here and we'll get his thoughts on the match tonight. And I watched the first half of the San Antonio match, or had it playing in the background, I should say, and San Antonio scored twice early off set pieces, and so San Antonio looked pretty good tonight. San Diego never really threatened at any point. And then El Paso had chances. They certainly had their chances to come out on top there. But Oakland took advantage. They really did. And I think it was Bocali. I want to make sure I have the name right. He got the nutmeg on Logan Ketterer to put Roots ahead. So good for them. Fantastic finish for them. Aaron had San Antonio win, El Paso win 1-1 tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow you get Colorado and Phoenix. All right. So Earl did not go with Colorado. I know that for a fact. I took Colorado tomorrow. I believe Earl went Orange County. I took Colorado. I think Jerry took Colorado as well. And then I think we all had Phoenix tomorrow. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then also tomorrow night, you've got Lou City and the Miami FC and Tampa Bay Rowdies. Oh, there's 5 matches tomorrow. My bad. There's 5. So Tampa Bay Rowdies and Tulsa. You've also got Charlotte and Memphis, and then Lou City and the Miami FC. So a lot of USL action tomorrow. It looks like everything starts at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So busy evening tomorrow for anyone watching USL. Erwin upsets all the way. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, great, interesting matches tonight. Definitely did. I did not expect El Paso to lose tonight. You've got Tulsa going to the finals. Really, that's interesting. That's an interesting pick. I know Earl had San Diego going all to the finals. So I don't know what Earl was smoking on Wednesday, but I don't know too much about Tulsa and how they play and how they finish this year. They say you're crazy. Well, Earl, no one's disputing that fact. So Tulsa looks like they had a weird year. They have 14 wins, 13 losses. That's a pretty competitive division there too in the Central. Lou City, Birmingham, Memphis, FC Tulsa, Indy 11, OKC, Atlanta United 2, SKC 2. So I don't know. Maybe Tulsa can. I mean, it doesn't look like they had a very consistent year by any stretch of the imagination, but you never know. As we saw tonight, you never know what can happen. So, but yeah, we know the news came down today from New Mexico United, and the link is up over on the New Mexico United subreddit from head coach Troy Lesesne's final press conference here at the club. Troy Lesesne and the club have decided to part ways at the end of his contract and not renew that. By all indications, it sounded as though Pete wanted to extend the contract, keep Troy here, and Troy seemed to feel as though he was not the answer going forward. So, we certainly wish Troy all the best in whatever he does next. And I think this news came as a bit of a shock to everyone. If you listen to the show dropped earlier today that we recorded on Wednesday night, Earl and I were having this discussion with Jerry, and I thought Troy would get at least one more year. And then Earl felt like he didn't. Earl felt like he would get next year, and then if next year didn't go well, then he would be on the hot seat. But this just kind of came out of nowhere, and we've kind of been dumbfounded by this, and it's certainly been an up and down ride at times with head coach Troy Lesesne. Not him personally, but next year, then a hot seat year. Okay. All right. Makes sense, Earl. So, man, like it just kind of came out of nowhere today. And so if anyone's here on Facebook, YouTube, pop on over in the chat as Aaron and Earl have already done. Would love to get your thoughts on head coach Troy Lesesne. Moving on, who do you think the club brings in? I know that it's been less than 12 hours. Well, roughly 12 hours since we found out. And so who do you think we get going? Who could you see coming in going forward? How does this affect the club? How does this affect the players that we currently have? In the press conference today, Troy said that there's a good base, and this isn't a program that you want to you hear the NFL and Major League Baseball, NBA talking about blowing up the team and starting over, rebuilding, and Troy insisted that this is not a club that you do that with, that you've got a very good base, and that there's something to build off of from here. Aaron here in the chat, to be honest, I thought Troy was going to leave or get sacked in year one. How come? I'm curious. Year one, I felt like you've got a lot of leeway there, year one, because brand new expansion club coming in. I mean, really no expectations whatsoever. And so I'm curious. I'm curious about that perspective. And I know that for quite a while this season, basically, the hashtag Troy out has been tossed around both on Reddit, and there's a lot of folks over on Facebook that have been saying for a while that Troy needed to go. We here on the show have felt like the hashtag Troy out movement was not really something that should be given a lot of credence, because we've got a couple, we talked about on the show this week. Year one, you have no expectations. You come in, you have the Open Cup run, you make the playoffs. You have the play-in game, whatever you want to call it. I know there's an argument over on Twitter right now from someone who is not a New Mexico United fan, with Devin Kerr. I think it's Devin Kerr, arguing about or maybe it was Mike Watts. They're arguing with one of those two gentlemen about whether or not the wild card or the play-in game counts as the playoffs. Now, if you look at Major League Baseball, you've got the wild card game, which is essentially a play-in game. So, I mean, that to me is the playoffs. So, we made the playoffs year one. We went out there, had a tough stretch at the end of the season. Although I think you can look at that and chalk a lot of that up to the fact that, number one, we did not have a very deep roster that first year. I mean, we still don't. But we played a lot of matches in a very short stretch of time. And having to do all of the Open Cup travel on the road. I mean, and I know obviously that's not going to compare to last year, but, we had several instances where we played, 2 to 3 matches every, 10 to 14 days for like 2 months. And so there was a lot that played into that first season. You look at 2020, obviously last year, you've got a full season on the road. Well, the truncated season, I guess we should say, 16 matches, every single one of them on the road. So to me, you throw out the 2020 season. I think most clubs would. You throw out the 2020 season in terms of like results. I mean, we made the playoffs last year, which is good. You didn't have to deal with the play-in or anything like that. Like we just straight up qualified, got in, beat San Antonio in the first round. And then you get to this year, and I know we had a 7-match stretch, 7-match winless stretch, but even with that, I mean, we were still in playoff contention. Now, it definitely didn't help our chances by any stretch of the imagination. And then this year we dealt with a lot more in terms of injuries. Obviously, you've got Sam Hamilton going down for the year. We lose Harry Swartz for the year. You lose Amando to a torn ACL. I know that was at the end of the season, but still, you lose Amando, someone that would have been a big help going forward into the playoffs and into the end of the season. And you lose Dev for the end of the year. So, I mean, there was a lot that we dealt with on the pitch. And no, we didn't have great results all season long. And there were a lot of times where we didn't seem, well, I don't want to say we weren't 100% committed, but those lapses, first 15, last 15 of a quarter, I'm sorry, not a quarter, of a half, we saw it a lot. And I don't know. Like, it's tough. And like, I thought Troy would have gotten at least one more season, but, he's off to try and find I'm not going to say greener pastures, but as he put it, a new challenge. He felt like he seemed to feel like he wasn't the right person to lead the club forward into year 4, which I don't think is necessarily true, but I feel like something had to change. And again, it's something we talked about on the show on Wednesday. We talked about, Coach Heather coming in. We talked about Itamar coming in. We talked about the club going and making changes mid-season this year, which is not something they've done before. And so there's a recognition there that things weren't working. And, we sat down with Troy in the post matches and things like that. And, you see the changes that we made, bringing back Salih, bringing back David Najam, bringing back Chris Wehan. And I feel like all of those moves paid off. I think they worked for us. And Troy talked to us about how the Brian Brown move didn't work. Like something just wasn't clicking. And we saw it. We thought there was a chance towards the end of the preseason that things were going to go well for him, and things just never quite clicked. I think a lot of it has to do with style of play, and he just didn't quite fit the system, which is unfortunate because Brian Brown is a guy that can be a scoring presence. It can be a physical presence, in the attacking third, but Yeah, it's just one of those hard things to take a look at. So, tweet out from USL Pony. First El Paso loss in a competitive USL match at home since July 24th, 2020. So, pretty good run for great, or not pretty. That's a great run for them. We were talking to Jerry about El Paso and how good they are at home, and like no one's denying that El Paso is good at home. Is Mark Lowry, El Paso coach, an option at New Mexico United? Because a lot of El Paso fans are mad at him right now. That's an interesting question. That is a very interesting question. I would say he is an option, but I don't know. I wonder if we can find out what his contract status is. We'll try to look this up here. But in terms of whether or not Mark Lowry would do that, I don't know. I don't think he would. Let's see. All right, Earl there. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Lowry, but the rivalry might say otherwise. Yeah, I think that's the limiting factor right there. Is whether or not he would take that job based off the history of the rivalry. That's the only thing. I don't think he would. And depending on what his contract status is, I'm trying to see here. I don't see anything. I can't find anything in terms of his contract, but my guess would be this is a contract year for him, if not next year, because I don't see anything talking about length of it. But I mean, I guess it's an option. I don't think it would happen though. Some other names I've seen kind of tossed around over on Reddit. Someone suggested Jeremy Fishbein, former UNM men's Lobo soccer coach. So there's that. Earl, pick an account. This USL transparency is not something in their vocabulary. No, it is not. USL is not transparent at all in terms of contract status and things like that. So, yeah, I've seen Jeremy Fishbein's name thrown out. I've seen that. I've seen Coach Heather's name thrown out. Some other potential options. I know Troy was mentioned as a potential option for the Houston job. I don't think he's getting that chance yet. I don't think he's shown enough to get that bump to the MLS level, but comment on what cheers up your little heart. Yeah, you do that, Earl. You do that. I think Troy's going back to Charlotte, or not Charleston. I think he's going to Charleston. I could be wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen there. I know Troy has said that he's open to different things, but in terms of coming here, Tab Ramos is out of a job. Let's see, Luchi Gonzalez is out of a job. I hear what's his name? Crap, I forgot his name. I'll think of it here in just a second. Who else? I'm trying to think of some other names that might be available. Gabriel Heinz might be available. I don't think we could afford him. I don't think I'd want him. Frank DeBoer, if he's not in a job, no, I wouldn't want him either. But I don't think is available. It's at this point he wants us to talk amongst ourselves. No. I really, honestly, I wanted to go live earlier, but Jacob, man. Anyway, if he's available, a guy that I think could have some success, and he showed some success earlier this year, Rob Valentino, the interim coach for New Mexico, or not New Mexico, for Atlanta United. He's a guy, but I don't know that he would take this step. Maybe he would. Do I think a coach from outside the USL is available for United? So great question there. Are you talking like MLS level coach? Or are you talking like, because when I think of this, I don't see it. I don't necessarily see an MLS coach coming down to take this type of job. Maybe like maybe an assistant coach, or like someone who's looking to get into get that head coaching experience potentially. But I think we're most likely going to see either an assistant get promoted from somewhere, either within the USL, or I think we see someone like a Jeremy Fishbein get the job. I don't think Coach Fishbein himself, but I don't think that would be a bad move for the club, though. I mean, if you're talking like an international manager, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, it's at this level, it's so hard to really put a finger on who's available and who would be interested in a USL position. It's most likely, like I said, I think it's most likely going to be an assistant level coach getting their first opportunity, or not necessarily like Landon, but maybe someone who used to play at a high level that wants to get into coaching. So I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. Oh, okay. USL Legends Steve. Okay. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. You think he'd be interested? I mean, I know he's had experience with some of the guys. Interesting. That's an interesting thought there, Earl. Man, that's a very interesting possibility. I wonder what level his coaching license is at. That would be the big question. I mean, honestly, I say, Aaron, to answer your question, I don't think anyone's off the table. I don't think anyone's off the table at this point. I mean, unless of course you're trying to like recruit someone from the Premier League or something like that. But former player would definitely be an option. Yeah, Coach Steve would be really interesting. I would be curious to see how he takes that step up. National level coach. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to look him up and see. Yeah, there's nothing on the runner's website about his coaching license. So 3-time USL All-Star, 2-time USL Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. That could be an interesting hire. That's not a bad idea, Earl. If we can get him on, talk to him. All right, sounds good. I'm still searching. Sorry, guys. I'm still searching to see if I can find something that shows like coaching licenses. While I'm looking this up, I may as well see if I can try to get my USSF coaching license. How about that? I mean, I've got books. I read books. I watch soccer all the time. I could do it. All right. How do you get a USSF coaching license? Nope. Okay, here we go. Coaches at the high school and college levels typically need to possess a B license issued by the USSF. Okay, so he probably has at least that. Am I into F1 racing? Sort of. I haven't really followed racing in a few years. When I did, it was typically more NASCAR than anything else, but F1's always a lot of fun to watch. The car designs are it's just unreal how aerodynamically stable those cars are. And then just how, like, if something does go wrong, just how it's amazing how many drivers walk away from those wrecks. Like, something, you talking about F1 or are you talking about Coach Steve? F1. Earl, pick a damn account. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about F1 this offseason. Like I said, I haven't really followed it in a few years. It's definitely something that, like I said, I was always more into NASCAR just because of where I grew up. But because we really didn't have we had like one road course that we would go to from time to time to watch races. Let's go check out the old Twitter sphere and see Let's see here. Do. It's me, Austin. Yeah, there you go. Wait, what? I think it's funny that people are supposedly like, well, I guess that's right. You know, because honestly, I would be curious to see how many people picked El Paso. I would be willing to bet like 95% of people picked El Paso, if not more, tonight. All right. Anyway. All right. Well, yeah, I'm kind of looking to see I was looking for El Paso outrage over on Twitter, and either I'm not seeing it or El Paso fans have gone to bed for the night. How long am I going to be on? I don't know, man. I thought I would stay on until Jacob showed up, but I may just log off and then record something with him if he's still up for it. Although it's going to be like midnight before we do it, apparently. So, but anyway, yeah, I think that's going to do it. We may do something a little bit live later on. I don't know. We'll see what time it is when Jacob gets home, see if we do it. We will record an emergency pod at some point this weekend to discuss Troy Lesane and the news from the club. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out for the last half hour or so, and go Roots.